Do you ever wake up feeling stiff, tired, even after a full night's sleep? Does your memory sometimes feel a bit foggier than it used to? Or do those nagging aches and pains seem to be a constant companion, settling in for the long haul? It's easy to dismiss these experiences as just getting older, a normal and unavoidable part of the journey. We often hear that the aches and the slowdowns are simply the price we pay for accumulated years. But what if I told you that for many of us over 60, these uncomfortable realities aren't inevitable? What if they're quietly being fueled by something in your everyday diet, something you might not even suspect? There's a hidden enemy lurking in many of our favorite foods, an enemy that doesn't announce itself with a loud alarm, but rather whispers discomfort and disease into our lives. Inflammation. It's a silent fire burning within, contributing to everything from joint pain and brain fog to heart issues, digestive woes, and even a general feeling of malaise that just seems to hang over you. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on 6 common foods that, for those of us over 60, are quietly fanning the flames of inflammation in our bodies. We'll explore why they're problematic and, more importantly, what wonderful, delicious alternatives you can embrace instead to help dial down that internal heat. And I really encourage you to watch all the way to the end, because there's something waiting for you that might truly surprise you about how much control you actually have over your own comfort and vitality, and how much better you can feel just by making a few mindful shifts. So, let's start by shining a light on the first culprit, one that's arguably the biggest instigator of internal inflammation, and it's found almost everywhere: added sugars. Now, I'm not talking about the natural sweetness in an apple or a handful of berries. I'm talking about the sugars tucked away in soft drinks, pastries, sugary cereals, flavored yogurts, sauces, and even seemingly savory items like salad dressings or canned soups. Think about it. A single can of soda can contain as much as 10 teaspoons of sugar. When we consume these added sugars, especially in large amounts, our bodies are essentially overwhelmed. Our blood sugar spikes rapidly, forcing our pancreas to work overtime to produce insulin. This constant roller coaster of high blood sugar and insulin can create a state of chronic low-grade inflammation throughout your body. Imagine that silent fire I mentioned earlier. Sugar is like throwing gasoline on it. This chronic inflammation can manifest as that stiffness you feel in your joints, or that persistent fatigue that drains your energy by midday, making even simple activities feel like a chore. It can also contribute to that mental fogginess, making it harder to focus or remember things as sharply as you once did. The good news is, reducing added sugars doesn't mean giving up sweetness entirely. It means choosing smarter sources. Instead of sugary cereals, opt for plain oatmeal with fresh fruit and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Swap out sugary sodas for infused water with cucumber and mint, or a splash of fresh lemon juice for a sweet treat. Reach for a handful of berries or a piece of dark chocolate with a high cocoa content. You can even experiment with natural sweeteners like a tiny bit of pure maple syrup or raw honey in moderation. But the goal is to retrain your palate to appreciate less intense sweetness. You'll be amazed at how quickly your taste buds adjust. And suddenly, that super sweet dessert you once loved might even taste too cloying. It's a gradual process, but every small reduction in added sugar intake is a step towards a less inflamed, more comfortable you. Next up, let's talk about another common food group that quietly fuels inflammation: refined grains. Think white bread, white pasta, white rice, breakfast pastries, crackers, and many processed snack foods. When grains are refined, their outer layers, the bran and germ, are stripped away. These are the parts that contain most of the fiber, vitamins, and minerals. What's left is primarily starch, which the body quickly breaks down into sugar, much like added sugars do. This rapid conversion causes a similar blood sugar spike, leading to that inflammatory response we just discussed. So, while a piece of whole wheat toast might seem innocuous, if it's made from highly refined white flour, it's still acting like a hidden sugar source in your body, contributing to inflammation, joint pain, and even digestive issues because it lacks the fiber to keep things moving smoothly. Many of us grew up with white bread and pasta as staples, and it can feel strange to think of them as problematic. But consider the difference between biting into a dense, flavorful slice of whole grain bread and a fluffy piece of white bread. The whole grain provides sustained energy and helps stabilize blood sugar, while the refined version gives you a quick spike followed by a crash. The solution here is simple: swap out refined grains for their whole grain counterparts. Look for breads and pastas labeled 100% whole wheat or whole grain as the first ingredient. Experiment with brown rice, quinoa, barley, or oats as healthy. Fiber-rich alternatives to white rice, these whole grains digest more slowly, preventing those sharp blood sugar spikes and providing a steady release of energy. Plus, the added fiber is fantastic for your digestive health, which is so important as we age. Imagine less bloating and more regularity, small changes that make a big difference to your daily comfort. Making these swaps might seem small, but the cumulative effect on reducing inflammation and improving your overall well-being can be truly profound. Now that we've uncovered how added sugars and refined grains can contribute to that simmering inflammation, let's turn our attention to some other common items that often find their way onto our plates and into our shopping carts, quietly stirring up trouble. Now that we've talked about how added sugars and refined grains can stealthily contribute to inflammation, let's move on to something that might surprise many of you: processed meats. We're talking about items like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, lunch meats, and many prepackaged deli meats. These products are often loaded with unhealthy saturated and trans fats, sodium, nitrates, and other chemical preservatives. When these compounds enter your body, they can trigger a robust inflammatory response. For example, nitrates, which are used to preserve and color processed meats, can form compounds in your body called nitrosamines, which have been linked not only to inflammation but also to an increased risk of certain diseases. Think about it this way: your body sees these chemicals and high levels of saturated fat as foreign invaders, and it revs up its defense system, which includes inflammation. This can mean more aches in your back and knees, a general feeling of sluggishness, and a harder time recovering from even mild physical activity. We might associate these foods with convenience or a traditional breakfast, but their hidden cost to our internal well-being is quite significant. The good news is that there are delicious, healthier alternatives to satisfy that craving for savory, protein-rich foods instead of processed bacon. Consider lean turkey bacon in moderation, or even better, explore plant-based options like smoked tempeh or seasoned mushrooms for a flavorful, hearty addition to your breakfast. For lunch, swap out deli ham for freshly roasted chicken or turkey breast, or even a hearty lentil salad. Focusing on lean, unprocessed protein sources like fish, chicken, eggs, beans, and lentils can provide all the building blocks your body needs without the inflammatory baggage. It's about making a conscious choice to nourish your body with wholesome, real food that supports, rather than detracts from, your vibrant health. Moving on, let's talk about trans fats and fried foods. This category is a particularly potent inflammatory agent. Trans fats are artificially created fats found in many packaged baked goods, snack foods, margarine, and of course, deep-fried fast foods. They're used because they use or starch shelf life and provide a desirable texture, but they come at a high cost to your health. Your body simply doesn't know how to process these artificial fats efficiently, leading to widespread inflammation that can damage blood vessels, increase bad cholesterol, and contribute to heart disease. Think about that greasy burger and fries from the fast food drive-thru, or those crispy potato chips. While satisfying in the moment, the inflammatory cascade they unleash in your body can last for hours or even days. This might explain why you feel sluggish, bloated, or experience a flare-up of joint pain after indulging in these foods. The hidden danger here is that trans fats are often listed as partially hydrogenated oil on ingredient labels, so it pays to read carefully. The key to avoiding this inflammatory trigger is to drastically limit fried foods and processed snacks. Instead of deep-fried, opt for baked, roasted, or air-fried versions of your favorite foods. If you love potatoes, roast them with olive oil and herbs instead of frying. For snacks, choose fresh fruit, nuts, seeds, or air-popped popcorn. When cooking, use healthy fats like olive oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil in moderation, which are far more beneficial for your body. Making these simple shifts can significantly reduce your exposure to trans fats, allowing your body to calm down that internal inflammation and function more optimally. You'll likely notice better digestion, more stable energy levels, and a reduction in those nagging aches and pains. And that leads us perfectly to our next inflammatory food group, excessive omega-6 vegetable oils. Now, before you panic, not all vegetable oils are bad. We need a balance of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in our diet. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory, found in things like fatty fish, flax seeds, and walnuts. Omega-6s, found in oils like corn, soybean, sunflower, and cottonseed oil, are essential in moderation. The problem arises when our diet becomes heavily skewed towards omega-6s, which is common in a Western diet due to the prevalence of these oils in processed foods, restaurant cooking, and many packaged goods. When omega-6s are consumed in excess, without a balancing amount of omega-3s, they can promote inflammation within the body. Imagine your cells trying to maintain balance, and suddenly they're flooded with one type of building block that encourages a pro-inflammatory state. This imbalance can exacerbate conditions like arthritis, contribute to skin issues, and even affect your cognitive function. You might feel more generally inflamed, with unexplained aches, or perhaps your recovery from physical activity seems slower than it should be. To rebalance your intake, consciously reduce your reliance on oils high in omega-6 when cooking at home. Choose healthier alternatives like extra virgin olive oil for low-heat cooking or salad dressings, and avocado oil or coconut oil for higher heat cooking. Incorporate more omega-3 rich foods into your diet, such as salmon, mackerel, chia seeds, and flax seeds. Even small additions, like sprinkling ground flax seeds into your morning oatmeal or adding walnuts to your salad, can make a difference. It's not about eliminating omega-6s entirely, but about ensuring a healthier ratio with omega-3s. By making these mindful choices about your cooking oils and increasing your omega-3 intake, you're actively helping your body quiet down that inflammatory response and fostering a more harmonious internal environment, paving the way for more comfort and vitality in your daily life. Next, we'll dive into another category of hidden culprits that often lurk in foods we consider diet or convenient. We've covered quite a bit already, from the sneaky sugars and refined grains to the concerns with processed meats, trans fats, and even the imbalance of certain vegetable oils. But there's one more category of sneaky inflammation triggers that many of us consume regularly, sometimes without even realizing it, often because they're marketed as healthier alternatives or simply added to everyday items, artificial sweeteners, and food additives. Think about those sugar-free drinks, light yogurts, diet snacks, or even brightly colored candies and processed foods. Ingredients like aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, artificial colorings, and various preservatives might seem harmless, or even beneficial if they're helping you avoid sugar. However, for many people, especially as we age, these synthetic compounds can actually disrupt our gut microbiome, the community of beneficial bacteria living in our intestines. A healthy gut is crucial for a healthy immune system and for keeping inflammation at bay. When the gut bacteria are out of balance, it can lead to something called leaky gut, where the gut lining becomes permeable, allowing undigested food particles and toxins to enter the bloodstream, triggering a widespread inflammatory response. Imagine your digestive system, a finely tuned engine, suddenly being fed fuel it doesn't recognize or know how to process. This can lead to digestive discomfort like bloating, gas, and irregular bowel movements. But it can also manifest as fatigue, brain fog, skin issues, and those familiar aches and pains we've been discussing. We often reach for these artificially sweetened or additive-laden products thinking we're making a healthier choice, only to find our bodies reacting negatively in ways we don't immediately connect to what we've eaten. It's a classic example of something seemingly innocent, quietly causing internal turmoil. To combat this, the best approach is to focus on whole, unprocessed foods. Instead of a diet soda, reach for sparkling water with a squeeze of fresh lime or a few berries. Instead of a light yogurt with artificial sweeteners, opt for plain Greek yogurt and sweeten it yourself with a small amount of honey, real fruit, or a sprinkle of cinnamon. When you're at the grocery store, make it a habit to read ingredient labels. If you see a long list of unpronounceable chemicals, artificial colors, or artificial sweeteners, it's often a good sign to put that item back on the shelf. The more you gravitate towards fresh fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains, the less exposure you'll have to these hidden inflammatory triggers. Your taste buds will adapt, and you'll begin to truly savor the natural flavors of real food. So, we've walked through 6 common foods and food categories that can quietly cause inflammation in your body after 60 the pervasive added sugars, the surprisingly problematic refined grains, processed meats with their hidden chemicals, the damaging trans fats and fried foods, an excess of certain omega-6 vegetable oils, and the often overlooked artificial sweeteners and food additives. It might feel like a lot to take in, and perhaps even a bit daunting to think about changing long-held dietary habits. But remember, this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's not about suddenly overhauling your entire diet overnight, but about making small, consistent, mindful choices that add up to significant improvements in how you feel every single day. Think of it this way every time you choose an apple over a sugary snack, or whole grain bread instead of white, or grilled fish over processed sausage. You're not just avoiding something bad, you're actively pouring soothing, anti-inflammatory goodness into your body. You're giving your internal systems a break, allowing them to calm down that silent fire, and paving the way for more energy, less pain, clearer thinking, and better overall health. These aren't just abstract concepts. They translate into real-life benefits: being able to walk further without discomfort, having the mental clarity to enjoy hobbies, feeling more vibrant and engaged in your daily life. And here's that surprise I promised you at the beginning. The most powerful tool you have against inflammation isn't a magic pill or a fad diet. It's the incredible resilience and healing capacity of your own body. Supported by the simple, nourishing power of real food, you have more control than you might realize over how you feel. Your body is constantly working to heal itself. And by removing these inflammatory burdens, you're giving it the best possible chance to do its job. It's a remarkable partnership. So, take this information and approach it with kindness towards yourself. Start with 1 or 2 changes that feel manageable. Maybe it's swapping out your sugary morning cereal for plain oatmeal with berries. Perhaps it's choosing whole wheat pasta next time you cook. Every small step forward is a victory. Your body will thank you. Not just in weeks, but in the comfort and vitality you experience day by day. If this conversation resonated with you, I encourage you to share your thoughts or your own experiences in the comments below. What small changes have you found make a big difference in how you feel? Your insights could genuinely help someone else. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We're here to share more practical tips and encouragement to help you live your very best life at every age. You deserve to feel your best. And with these simple shifts, you absolutely can.